Hello everybody, I'm David Schuster. The Republican Party keeps proving their leaders will say or do anything to gain power, regardless of the harm the rhetoric causes. The latest example involves RNC Chair Lara Trump. On CNN, host Dana Bash pressed Lara Trump about why her father-in-law Donald Trump keeps spreading dangerous conspiracy theories, and Bash listed Trump's latest hurricane-related lies.
He said that FEMA is only offering $750 to Americans who have had their homes destroyed. That's not true. He's also echoing conspiracy theorists online who falsely claim that the administration is redirecting disaster money for undocumented immigrants. That's also not true. Why is he spreading misinformation in a crisis like that? And does that concern you about your fellow North Carolinians and how and whether they could actually get help?
Before we dive into Lara Trump's response, I want to highlight just how appalling this is. People have literally seen their lives destroyed, and Donald Trump's claims, to the extent they are believed, are adding to the suffering and misery. But the Trump campaign shows no shame because this nonsense might help them win the election. And many of the people affected by the hurricanes are actually Donald Trump's own supporters. And yet Trump is actively spreading confusion and chaos, all because he's desperate for any political advantage he can get. In Donald Trump's mind, it seems like it doesn't matter who gets hurt in the process. Now, let's take a look at Lara Trump's shameful response. Again, Dana Bash asked, why is Donald Trump spreading misinformation, and does that concern you?
Look, Kamala Harris did come out and say it's $750 per family right now. The idea that we've spent $650 million in fiscal year 24 on the migrant crisis that Kamala Harris was responsible for stopping, and by all accounts, she created by having an open door policy at our southern border,
but
is
Laura,
infuriating.
Laura, let me just stop you right there.
Of this country.
Let me just stop you right there because I just want to not let this get out there. You are right that FEMA is giving $750, but that is a first step. It's for immediate needs. It's called the serious needs assistance.
Dana, and said that they are out of money in terms of their hurricane relief. We have another hurricane heading towards Florida right now.
What they have said is that there is money
right now. Why don't they have anything in order? Why is it that right now the citizens in Western North Carolina are screaming for help, and it's having to come from local citizens? People from my hometown of Wilmington are driving across the state 6 hours to go to the mountains and help people.
It is bad.
Where is our federal government? Why are they out of money?
It is bad there, but my question is about the misinformation, particularly the notion that they are moving money to migrants, you say undocumented migrants, which FEMA says flatly is not true. And if people are not getting correct information, then they can't go for assistance as they have been asked for. I want you to listen to what the Republican senator from North Carolina, Tom Tillis, said about the rescue and recovery efforts.
I'm actually impressed with how much attention was paid to a region that wasn't likely to have experienced the impact that they did. For anybody who thinks that any level of government, anybody here, could have been prepared precisely for what we're dealing with here, clearly are clueless. But right now, I'm out here to say that we're doing a good job.
The Republican governor of North Carolina is happy with the federal government response and with the coordination with the state. It's the same story with the Republican governors of South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. But back to Lara Trump. As you heard, she completely dodged the question.
So he and others are saying, please, to the former president and to others, stop spreading misinformation because it's hurting people in North Carolina.
I'm so glad to hear that he feels that way, but
instead of addressing why her father-in-law is spreading harmful conspiracy theories and lies about FEMA, Lara Trump deflects and pivots to immigration. But as the CNN anchor noted, money to help migrants is allocated separately from the money for disaster assistance. They are separate congressional votes. But Lara Trump conflates it all, lies about the budget process, and spreads misinformation and confusion. The end result is that some voters who are already reeling from the storms are now even less certain about their possible recovery and have less faith in the institutions that exist to help them. This tactic of frightening and demoralizing people is unfortunately nothing new for the Trump campaign. And instead of offering facts or clarity, Lara Trump skirts around the truth and feeds into the anti-government narrative her father relies on to keep his base inflamed. This kind of deliberate avoidance isn't just frustrating, it's dangerous. Misinformation during a crisis like a hurricane has real consequences. And by refusing to answer or address Dana Bash's question directly, Lara Trump is not only dodging accountability, but she's also adding to the chaos and confusion that puts lives at risk. It's a classic example of the Trump playbook. Never admit fault, always insist your opponents are wrong, fan the flames, and make sure the truth gets buried under a mountain of falsehoods. Lara Trump's evasive response is just one example of a much larger issue. What we are seeing here isn't just the Trump playbook at work, it's the Republican Party's strategy as a whole. Theatrics and distractions have become their go-to tools, offering no real solutions or substance. Whether it's spreading conspiracy theories or avoiding accountability, it's all part of a calculated effort to deflect attention from their deeply harmful policies.
It really shows Donald Trump's stranglehold over the Republican Party that the question of did Donald Trump lose in 2020 has become seen as a gotcha question. It is not a gotcha question, and Vance's answers around this really reflect his shift from someone who was once calling Donald Trump possibly America's Hitler to somebody who is now parroting his false election rhetoric. But that is not how he always felt. Take a listen to this clip from November of 2020.
I really don't see any reason to think that this is going to become violent or chaotic. I think that when Biden is inaugurated, people will, more or less accept it, and it'll be on to the next fight.
And what does Vance say there? He says that Biden is going to be inaugurated. He said that he does not think things are going to get violent, and that is a remarkable shift from him parroting those false election claims today.
Parroting false claims so that Vance can be in line with Donald Trump. And when political leaders lie, it becomes even more difficult to address the reality of the challenges facing our nation, whether it's climate change or healthcare or even cleaning up after a disaster. Donald Trump Republicans rely on distraction, misinformation, and fear to keep people away from the truth. And the Trump campaign would rather stir up controversy and feed the MAGA base with lies and conspiracy theories than tackle the hard work of actually governing. And behind the smoke and mirrors is an agenda that only serves the wealthy and the powerful, leaving ordinary Americans behind and even more confused. What we are seeing with Donald Trump is just the loudest, most extreme version of conservatives who often choose to put political power over the well-being of the people they claim to represent. Thankfully, the Republican governors in the hurricane states are refusing to go along with the Trump nonsense, at least on this issue. And hopefully that will mitigate at least some of the emotional damage and anxieties that Donald Trump and his family keep inflicting. But let this all be a reminder, fear is a powerful political tool. And one of the best ways to stop it is by voting. Make sure you are registered for the November 5th election. Let your voice be heard. All of us have an opportunity to shape our society at the local, state, and federal levels. So get out there and vote. It will make you feel better, and it will help all of us. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.